That's mostly about human connections and the way people are like closely entangled to one another. It's not necessarily about love, but it's kind of showing how complicated each individual is. For me, it's like it begins with the first part, which is about the scratching faces and this kind of dreamy, nightmarish dream, talking about scratching the face. And I mean, not physically, but if we scratch our faces, the face, the facade that we have, we will see different people also. What is individual? What is an individual? It's a compound of history. It's a compound of all the people met in life, all this connections and all the relationship we have with humans. So, and it gets a little bit further and becomes even much more focused on two entities that I choose as like the photons, a story which is, I mean, scientifically or quasi-scientifically interesting topic, which if we have like photons, like million years of light year apart, and you will see that if one photon is just in a certain state, the other one in just snap of time will always have the same state. It's like how we are defined as an individual, but at the same time, how closely we are defined with other people surrounding us. It's not always the case. Depending on the necessity of the texture and the concept of the piece. So for this piece, I really thought that it can correlate really good because everything happens from like a dreamy side and part of everything. It comes back to the earth, like talking about the pebbles, a community of pebbles, small stones, and when you look at them, they have different sizes but different materials. And afterwards, it goes to a more cosmic scale. So it's just from an expressionistic way of dealing and talking about individualism, then comes to some natural moments of our earthly life, and it goes to some extra terrestrial, like out of earth and much more bigger cosmic level. So at the end, it becomes again a thing mostly related to the individual. So, and it's like a journal. It's like some notes. So it's notes of entanglement. So different notes. So I had the text, and I tried to, according to the text, I just brainstormed, and I mean, I also experienced, try to bring it into the music. So it's just like short stages of writing a journal and a note. So it's like diary, kind of. I guess in my piece is also like starting from an individual who's like going through some experience, some emotional experience. Then it comes to some other levels, which is like looking at everything and how collective everything is. And again, coming back to the individual. So I don't want to separate these two. So I think they are really interconnected. And that's, I guess, that's the idea which I will also agree. So we are individuals in collective, and also the collective is also comprised of individuals. Yes, yeah, I was born in Tehran, and yeah. So telling tales, I think, yeah, we know it from Arabic cultures, but I mean, that's also a general thing. Just telling tales about something. It's just a diary and a little story inside of that. Trying to tell something, to narrate a story to other people, that's also, I think, something collective. I don't look at it like culturally really related to the area, because if I want to talk about the way that Persians tale, which is completely also different from Arabic tales, but they are also something sometimes culturally really related because of their enclosure. And the thing is, no, that's not the Persian culturally defined way of telling tales. So that's the first question. The second one is, yes, I have this connection with all culture and also with the Persian culture. I haven't been, I've been living in Europe for about 8 years, but I've been, really closely connected with our culturally and traditionally musicians, and also the people, artists who are really active also in Europe and also in Iran. But if I have to use that elements, I feel that that's a kind of imposing things. Yeah. So I didn't want to impose, like, to say, okay, I'm from Iran and I have to use like culturally related to Iran stuff, like imposing it to my piece and also to the audience. Because I think Persian traditional classical music would be something that is it works as a messenger of that culture, and it does it real better than if I use just some fragments and some things that are really known to me, but maybe the audience will not understand it, because usually in contemporary music we don't use the whole scale of things. If there is, we have a Persian daska or system of making the scales. So if we use it, we always try to not to use it as it is, yeah, just to try to make it a little bit new, which it comes out of that context also. So I don't try to impose my nationality and culturally background to my music. Sometimes I feel like using it because I think it depends. Like, I work a lot with texts. And there are some moments that I'm using just Persian text, just Persian literature, and then I need that atmosphere of Persian vibes, which it supports, but of course in much more new way. But as I said, it depends really on the thing that I am really obsessed with. Yes, of course. So this year I'm really focused on working with different percussionists, and I have I had like 2 pieces written for like in a row, and another one is coming for a quartet, for a percussion quartet. And this year was mostly focusing on percussion instruments. And so for the future, for me, if I want to categorize my pieces, I would say I have different 3 categorization, which one is mostly related trying new colors with daily objects and trying to find new color and new timbre also within instruments. Another category is for me working with the text and just focusing on what the word and what the speech and what the language is, and also trying to find an equivalent in music word. And another one is working on scenic experience, like have something that happens in the scenes, which is, and I think for me now they're becoming really united after a while. So it was really sometimes like there were always 2 categories present there, but now it's becoming the whole thing becoming united, and I'm really focused on that, to bring all this way of thinking and composing to composition, make it even more united all the time. I think Vienna has been a great place for me to continue my compositional career, because that's a kind of a central place for contemporary music, one of the main central places in Europe. So I have this chance to meet lots of composers, to see lots of new ideas, to be in constant contact with the creative new pieces and projects as well, and also meeting lots of composers from different parts of the world. So it's a real international community where I can easily share my ideas with other people, and I can easily be inspired by the people I see, and of course the musicians. And also that's a good place to get in contact with other ensembles around Europe. So it's not just about Austria, it's not even about a German-speaking country, like different places. Like now I'm in Spain, working with Vertixe, Sonora, and that's amazing for me. So I think the environment for this kind of music is already good, and I really like it there. Yeah, so I guess for every composer, they are really obsessed with working with a big orchestra. That's one of it. But the other thing is working on music theater pieces, which is, I mean, little operas, so to say. That's also one of the things that fascinates me, because I mean, back at the time when I started my career as a composer, I started with theater groups, and it was really interesting for me working hand in hand with people who are like acting, we have the scenes, and I'm an interpreter of the music, and there is something going on, a play, I don't know, a drama or something, and so to make it a much more interdisciplinary way of composing. So that's one of the things that I really like. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it all the time. Yes, I will. I'm trying to always go to deeper levels of these ideas to make it, I mean, even for me, to welcome the challenges even more and get out of the way that I'm out of my safe zone. Yeah. So, and of course, being in Vienna has influenced me in this regard, but of course I cannot say this composer or this kind of particular way of thinking, but totally speaking, that's a general thing, that when you go to a contemporary concert, you see many pieces with different kind of ideas now. That's interesting. I really find it interesting because there is this diverse situation now. When you go to a contemporary music, like even our concert today, if you just look at the pieces, they're so different. And that's really interesting for me. So it will inspire you, and you don't know how it will affect. That's the part of the thing, individual and collective. Yeah. So it has its effect on you, and when you okay, if I want to scratch my face and go to the deeper level, I was okay, maybe that's the reason why I'm doing this, is because something else like 2 years ago had touched me, and maybe it's part of my subconscious now. Totally speaking, like, okay, we have borders, we are defined by the place that we are born, and which I will find this a little bit cruel. It makes a great boundary for us, and that's a big restrictions. I mean, the borders, the idea of borders, which I think for all the artists is really something that they don't like. So I don't say, okay, I don't want my Persian culture. Of course not. I'm in love with my Persian culture. Yeah. So that's something crazy about it. I'm really crazy about it. But I mean, that's not everything. Yeah. So there's a part of me that needs to be expanded, needs to be extended, and that's possible through getting out of that territory. I mean, it could be a geopolitical territory, and it could be also something, a mindset, like a mindset. So to say, okay, I'm born like this, I am born in this part of earth, and I will stay like this forever. And I mean, we have the best thing, the others don't have the best thing. So, and I like the idea of becoming lost. So you put it as exile, to be in exile, but I will put it in another way. Being lost and found, and lost and found, and lost and found. That's the way I really like it. I mean, to be somewhere that I don't know, and to surprise myself, and sometimes really terrified by it. I do something, and I maybe go to the place that I'm found, or maybe I become found in that territory. So for me, it works in this way. So I see the borders, of course, the borders define the human being now in a real dangerous way again, because of rising of populism and everything, and nationalism also, which I think we have to believe that we are all kind of same entity trying to define ourselves. And sometimes we are born in a certain place and we are defined by the rules of that certain place, and there's something that we can also define them. That's the most important part for me. So not to be defined by the territory, and if you're already defined, try to make a new definition of yourself. So of course there is. I mean, the first thing is that I need a visa to be in Europe. So I have to go through a process each year to renew my visa, and sometimes it takes like some time, and you're not sure if it's going to be like this time you get the visa or not. So sometimes it can be terrible, but like now it's in a better way and situation because I put lots of effort. So in a way to make it much more easier for me to stay in Europe, but I mean, it was not that easy, yeah. The time I came to Europe, it was easier for us to get to Europe, but I think from 4 years ago or 3 years ago, everything became a little bit, not a little bit, really, really problematic. And of course, I understand that in Europe they have their own difficulties, and of course they have their own worries. But I mean, I think maybe I'm not a politician, yeah. So, but I think sometimes it's just this topic is being used as a political excuses for some certain parties to grow and some certain parties just to collapse. And I think it's more complicated than that. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much
Thank
to
you.
share with us your
Thank you.
thoughts.
Thank you for having me. And it was a great pleasure for me to be in Vigo and also working with Vertixe. That's a great experience that I will never forget.